As custodian of the wrecks, it's Philippe Rouger's job to track and monitor Bermuda's historic shipwrecks. And there are plenty here to keep him occupied. In fact, these waters may have claimed up to 300 vessels. Why have so many ships come to grief in these crystal clear seas, so close to land? Today, Philippe's visiting several wrecks that could throw some light on this mystery. First, the Mary Celestia, an iron-hulled steamship carrying supplies in the American Civil War.
She left Bermuda, she came down South Shore and came to her demise right here, which is a very curious thing because we're literally only 800 meters from shore. And it happened on a flat, calm day. There's a lot of intrigue about it. Trying to figure out just how this came to be.
She lies just over 50 feet down. The ship's distinctive paddle wheel is still recognizable. Just around the coast, there's another wreck, the Constellation. And slightly further, yet another, the Montana. In fact, according to Philippe's records,
now,
there are wrecks
why
completely
would these boats sink in these locations? Could there be another reason other than this mysterious Bermuda Triangle that throws off people's navigation that has become this scary myth? Could it be the reef? Could it be sandbars? So I want to thank Level Earth Observer for pointing this out. You do a great job, and just wanted to make that point. But here's National Geographic. The National Geographic is bought and paid for and owned by the propaganda agents, and I want to bring this up because they talk about the Bermuda Triangle and say it's this scary place that the airplanes and ships should stay out of because of the navigation issues, and you might die if you go out there, right? So let's take a look at the details of why they would do this, because it's all propaganda. Okay, let's start off with the first rocket launch from Cape Canaveral. The first rocket launch was July 1950. Okay, and Cape Canaveral is on the east coast of Florida, right along the Atlantic Ocean there. And the first rocket launch was the V2 rocket. Now, if you're familiar with the V2, this all goes into the fake space propaganda. And let's look at the V2 real quick to kind of put this all together. The V2 rocket was designed by the Nazis and actually designed by Werner von Braun, who later became the head of NASA and headed up all the fake space propaganda, working along with Disney and Man in Space, and through the 1950s created the illusion of the possibility of going into outer space, and they were shooting these rockets up in the air saying that they were going to outer space. But where were they actually going? Well, let's take a little closer look. The Bermuda Triangle, they also call it Devil's Triangle. Isn't that interesting? It first started having these early suggestion of unusual disappearances was September 17th, 1950. So it's literally like 3 months later after the first rocket launch. Let's go back and look at this again one more time. The first rocket launch was July 24th, 1950. And then they started putting out propaganda about the Bermuda Triangle, saying you should stay out of this area and ships should stay out of this area. And interestingly, one of the main reasons they were putting this out was the loss of Flight 19, which was a military operation. Go figure, the government has something to do with this. The Navy Avenger tornado bombers, they said they were lost. Okay? And they say, they wrote the leader had been heard saying, "We are entering whitewater, nothing seems right. We don't know where we are. The water is green, no white." He also wrote that officials at the Navy Board inquiry stated that the planes, quote, "flew off to Mars," unquote. And this came out in 1950, just as Wernher von Braun and the beginning of the space propaganda. And this is before NASA even started up, but Wernher von Braun was involved, and because they were shooting off his V2 bomb, his V2 missile, and this is what they were doing. So, and of course, they flew off to Mars, and Elon is of course, Elon Musk is trying to get to Mars and tell everybody we're going to Mars now, but he's saying we flew off to Mars, and Wernher von Braun, he kept talking about we're going to go to the moon and we're going to go to Mars, and then in Wernher von Braun's book, he has this science fiction book where Elon was the head of the officials of these Martians on Mars after they flew in and made contact with Mars. So isn't that interesting that they flew off to Mars with this propaganda in 1950, putting it all together. So let me keep going here. Let's see. Hang on. Okay, so let's see the Bermuda Triangle itself. Here's the location. And isn't that interesting that that is exactly the direction from Cape Canaveral that they fly off and they shoot the rockets. So they shoot them up in the air and they go over the ocean, and you can see them arc. It's very clear. Every single rocket launch, you can see them go up, they arc over, and they fall back down in the ocean. So wouldn't it be important to have some propaganda to show the Bermuda Triangle is a scary place that you need to stay out of? Because wouldn't that be a problem if you had ships constantly sailing around, because that's a really nice area to go sailing between the Caribbean and Bermuda and all that, and that the sailors are constantly saying that there's space rockets flying and landing in the ocean when they're actually supposed to be flying into outer space. And let's see more of the propaganda. This is right here in Britannica. And what do we have here? This is through the BBC, which is also propaganda agent. And this is talking about a documentary about alien and UFO in the Bermuda Triangle, explored in Netflix documentary. And I just put out an article yesterday that the Netflix, you can look it up and go back to my last video about propaganda is everywhere. And you'll see that Netflix began by a family member of the Bernays family. Edward Bernays was the original propaganda artist, and they're just carrying it on here. And this is just linked all together with BBC and with here we go, Netflix and National Geographic. National Geographic is the ones that put out the fake articles or the TV show about them showing over the Salton Sea in California, how they sent this boat out there and they did a trick photography to make it appear that the water was curving, which in fact you can see the ship, the raft the entire time, and you can see the horizon, you can see the shoreline behind the raft, to make an entire television show to trick people into believing that the Salton Sea curved over a 7-mile distance, and it was a complete fabrication and trick photography. So that's about it, I think. I just wanted to run through that. And this is the last thing, I guess. Kennedy Space Center, and they say, which directions do rockets launch from Cape Canaveral? Well, NASA takes advantage of Earth's natural rotation by launching toward the east from Cape Canaveral. Okay, we already saw the triangle, so they shoot it off over the Atlantic, and they say they shoot it off to the east to take advantage of the Earth's rotation, which is obviously laughable, because if that was the case, then anytime anybody flew in an airplane anywhere, they would take advantage of Earth's rotation, because of the alleged Coriolis and the spin of the Earth, when that proves itself that the Earth does not curve, because you can fly an airplane any direction and land back on the ground on a flat and non-moving surface. Can you imagine if an airplane tried to land sideways over a moving surface, spinning 1,000 miles an hour under it? It's laughable. So I'll stop here, but I just want to show you that the Bermuda Triangle is propaganda. It's fake space propaganda. Isn't that amazing? And there you go. They shoot the rockets right out into the Bermuda Triangle. They land in the ocean, and they scare people from going out there because they want to keep it secretive. And that's all it is. Take it easy.